chosen one. God is taking you from the pit to the palace. And you better get ready, because what's about to unfold in your life will make your enemies question everything they thought they knew about spiritual warfare, divine justice, and the unstoppable power of heaven's favor when it decides to move on behalf of someone who's been buried alive but refused to stop breathing. The vision that's burning in my spirit right now shows me something so powerful, so earth-shaking, that I can barely contain it. I see you rising from depths that should have been your grave, walking out of situations that were designed to be your final chapter. The same people who celebrated what they thought was your destruction are about to witness something that will haunt their dreams and shatter their understanding of how the universe operates. They threw you into a pit, but God is about to reveal that every pit in the kingdom is actually a launching pad to a palace. Do you feel it stirring in your bones right now? That restless energy that refuses to let you settle into defeat? That's not desperation. That's destiny awakening. While your enemies have been having parties, thinking they've finally silenced the voice that threatened their small kingdoms, heaven has been preparing a coronation. The very ground they thought would swallow you whole has been feeding something inside you that they cannot comprehend. You are not the victim of their schemes. You are the seed they accidentally planted in the exact soil that will produce their greatest nightmare, your complete and total victory. The attacks weren't random, and they weren't personal grudges born from petty jealousies. No, this was strategic warfare designed by principalities and powers who recognize something in your spirit that even you might not fully understand yet. They saw the crown before you knew you were royalty. They identified the palace before you realized you were homeless by choice, not by circumstance. Every coordinated assault on your character, every systematic dismantling of your support systems, every calculated attempt to isolate you from your purpose. These weren't the actions of mere humans operating from hurt feelings. This was a spiritual intelligence operation designed to abort a destiny that threatens the very foundations of darkness in this realm. The documents are already being prepared in heaven's courts. The paperwork for your vindication has been signed in blood that dried 2,000 years ago. The evidence locker containing every attack against you is being catalogued by angels, who specialize in justice administration. Every whispered lie, every public humiliation, every private betrayal has been recorded with supernatural precision. The prosecution's case against your enemies is so airtight that even the devil's best attorneys are advising their clients to plead for mercy. But here's what will make their judgment even more terrifying. You won't be the one demanding justice. The universe itself has become personally invested in your restoration. They forgot that the same God who allows the burial is the same God who orchestrates the resurrection. Every shovel of dirt they threw on you was actually covering a seed that grows stronger under pressure. Every lie they spread about your character was actually fertilizing the ground for a testimony so powerful that it will convert your enemies into believers in divine justice. They thought they were writing your obituary, but they were actually composing your introduction to a world that hasn't seen what God can do through someone who's been through hell and came back with fire in their eyes. The first breath you took after they thought you were finished breathing should have been your last, according to their calculations. But each inhale since then has been defying their spellwork, their manipulation, their carefully orchestrated campaign to steal your life force. That breathing pattern you developed in the darkness, short, controlled, strategic, wasn't just survival. It was rehearsal for speaking with authority that will command demons to flee and mountains to move. The oxygen that kept you alive in that suffocating environment is the same breath that will soon speak declarations so powerful they'll reshape the spiritual atmosphere over your entire bloodline. The isolation you've endured wasn't punishment. It was preparation. While they were celebrating your apparent destruction, you were in the University of the Depths, learning lessons that can only be taught in darkness, developing spiritual muscles that can only be built under the pressure of impossible circumstances. Every night you survived, when ending it all seemed like mercy. Every morning you chose to breathe, when breathing felt like betrayal to your own pain. Every moment you held on to faith, when evidence suggested God had abandoned you. These weren't signs of your weakness. These were demonstrations of supernatural strength that was being forged in the furnace of your affliction. The curriculum in that underground classroom was designed specifically for someone destined to rule territories that lesser people couldn't handle. Lesson 1. How to maintain sanity when everyone around you appears to have lost theirs. Lesson 2. How to keep your heart soft when the world seems determined to make it stone. Lesson 3. How to speak truth when lies are being rewarded and honesty is being punished. Lesson 4. How to love unconditionally when conditional love is all you've ever received. These weren't random experiences. These were graduate-level courses in kingdom leadership, and you passed every single examination with distinction. The tears you cried in secret weren't tears of defeat. They were tears of preparation, washing away everything that wouldn't serve you in the palace God has been preparing. The prayers you whispered when your voice was too broken to speak aloud weren't reaching deaf ears. They were being recorded in heaven's archives as evidence of your eligibility for a promotion that will shock every person who thought they knew your limitations. The sleepless nights weren't punishments. They were downloads. Divine information being transferred to your spirit while your conscious mind was too overwhelmed to interfere with the process. Those downloads contained blueprints for businesses that don't exist yet, solutions to problems that haven't been identified, innovations that will transform industries, wisdom that will counsel presidents and kings. The insomnia that felt like torture was actually your spirit staying awake to receive classified information that would have overwhelmed you in broad daylight. The dreams that felt like nightmares were actually prophetic previews of battles you would win, territories you would claim, and victories that would establish your reputation in realms where your name isn't even known yet. Right now, as the seasons are shifting in the spiritual realm, something is breaking loose that's been held back until this exact moment. The same mouth that spoke you into existence is about to speak your enemies into a confusion so complete, so disorienting that they'll question their own sanity. The same hands that formed you in secret are about to publicly vindicate every whispered promise that sustained you through the valley of shadows. This isn't going to be a gradual improvement in your circumstances. This is going to be a supernatural acceleration that defies every natural law they thought they understood. The timing of your emergence has been calculated with precision that would make atomic clocks seem inaccurate. Every delay that frustrated you was actually divine choreography, ensuring that when you rise, the maximum number of witnesses will be present to testify to what only God could have orchestrated. Every door that closed in your face was actually being sealed shut to force you through the one entrance that leads directly to your throne room. Every rejection you experienced was actually protection from associations that would have limited your capacity to receive the unlimited favor that's about to flood your life. The palace that's being prepared for you isn't just a metaphor for better days ahead. This is a literal transformation of your reality, so complete, so comprehensive, that the person who walks into those doors will be unrecognizable to anyone who knew the person who was buried in that pit. Your bank account, your relationships, your opportunities, your influence, your peace of mind, your physical health, your family dynamics, your professional status. Every single area they attacked is about to be restored with compound interest that will make their original assault look like a favor they did for your future. The resources being allocated for your restoration would bankrupt small nations if they were measured in earthly currency. The investment heaven has made in your comeback would make billionaires weep with envy if they could see the portfolio being managed on your behalf. The connections being arranged for your next chapter include names that aren't public yet, opportunities that haven't been announced, and partnerships that will seem impossible until they manifest in your reality. The favor being prepared for your release will open doors that don't even have handles because they were designed to respond only to your specific spiritual frequency. But the most devastating blow to their pride won't be your success. It will be their realization that they were never fighting you. They were fighting the God who lives inside you. And every weapon they formed against his chosen vessel just activated more blessing in your bloodline. Every curse they sent your way just triggered more favor to flow in your direction. Every evil plan they hatched in secret just authorized more angels to be assigned to your protection detail. They thought they were burying a person, but they were actually challenging the creator of the universe to a battle they could never win. The spiritual surveillance footage of their campaign against you has been playing on repeat in courtrooms they can't see, before judges they can't bribe, in front of juries they can't intimidate. The evidence is so overwhelming that their own consciences have become prosecution witnesses. The testimony of their victims has created such a cacophony of justice demands that heaven had to assign additional processing angels just to manage the caseload. The verdict has already been reached. The sentence has already been determined. The execution is about to commence. The moment of your emergence is approaching with the inevitability of sunrise. And when that moment arrives, the shockwaves will ripple through every realm, natural and supernatural. The people who wrote you off will scramble to rewrite history, claiming they always believed in you. The platforms that refuse to give you space will beg you to grace their stages. The institutions that locked you out will redesign their doors just to accommodate your entry. The individuals who couldn't see your worth will suddenly develop spiritual cataracts from looking at the glory that radiates from your very presence. The news of your resurrection will travel faster than their lies ever did. The documentation of your vindication will be more thoroughly distributed than their slander ever was. The celebration of your restoration will be louder than their mockery ever was. The proof of your anointing will be more convincing than their accusations ever were. Every platform they used against you will become a platform for your testimony. Every voice they recruited to destroy you will become silent in the presence of your obvious blessing. This reversal isn't just about restoring what was stolen from you. This is about revealing who you've always been underneath the mud they threw on your identity. Every false accusation they made about your character was actually a prophecy about their own destiny. Every limitation they tried to place on your future was actually a description of their own ceiling. Every celebration they had over your apparent downfall was actually a funeral they were planning for their own relevance in your story. The contracts being signed in your name right now don't require your presence because your reputation in heaven is sufficient collateral. The agreements being negotiated on your behalf don't need your approval because your destiny was established before the foundation of the world. The partnerships being arranged for your benefit don't require your input because your assignment has been clear since before you took your first breath. The investments being made in your future don't need your signature because your purpose was funded before time began. The breathing techniques you developed during the suffocation, the faith muscles you built during the famine, the discernment you gained during the deception, the patience you cultivated during the waiting. These weren't just survival skills. These were palace protocols being downloaded into your spirit, because someone who's about to rule needs to know how to function under pressure that would crush ordinary people. The pit was never your destination. It was your preparation. The burial was never your ending. It was your beginning. The phone calls that are about to change your life are already being dialed. The emails that will alter your trajectory are already being composed. The conversations that will open impossible doors are already being scheduled. The meetings that will transform your reality are already being arranged. The opportunities that will exceed your wildest expectations are already being customized for your specific gifts and calling. The provision that will embarrass your former poverty is already being allocated from accounts you didn't know existed. Watch how the tables turn when the same people who couldn't return your calls suddenly can't get through to you because your new number is unlisted. Observe how the same individuals who had no time for your struggles suddenly have all day to explain why they deserve access to your success. Notice how the same voices that spread lies about your character will compete to tell the truth about your greatness once they realize that proximity to your anointing is the only way their own dreams have any chance of survival. The reversal is so complete that they'll convince themselves they were actually helping you all along. The turnaround is so dramatic that they'll rewrite their own memories to cast themselves as supporters rather than saboteurs. The transformation is so obvious that they'll claim they saw your potential when they were actually trying to destroy it. The vindication is so public that they'll attempt to take credit for the very breakthrough they tried to prevent. The palace doors are already opening, and the sound of those hinges moving is creating a frequency that's disturbing the peace of everyone who counted you out. The throne that's been waiting for you is finally ready for its rightful occupant. The crown that was designed specifically for your head is about to be placed there by the same hands that sustained you through every attempt to destroy your destiny. The scepter that will give you authority over territories you've never even visited is being polished for your coronation ceremony. The royal garments being tailored for your installation were designed by angels who specialize in clothing that reflects inner glory. The jewels being set in your crown were mined from queries in dimensions where suffering becomes beauty and pain transforms into power. The palace being prepared for your residence has rooms for purposes you haven't even discovered yet, and facilities for functions you don't even know you're called to perform. The staff being assembled for your service includes specialists in areas of excellence you haven't even explored yet. You won't have to seek revenge because justice will seek them. You won't have to expose their evil because their own actions will testify against them. You won't have to defend your character because your elevation will speak louder than their accusations ever could. You won't have to prove your worth because your assignment will demonstrate your value to anyone with eyes to see. The justice that's been delayed hasn't been denied. It's been accumulating interest in accounts managed by angels who specialize in compound vengeance. The vindication that seemed to take forever is about to arrive with such force that it will create precedents for how heaven handles similar cases in the future. The restoration that appeared impossible is about to become the template for how God resurrects the righteous from impossible circumstances. The same breath that kept you alive in the pit will now speak life into every dead situation in your bloodline. The same faith that sustained you through the burial will now move mountains that have been blocking your family's breakthrough for generations. The same love that held you together when everything was falling apart will now attract everything that belongs in your life while repelling everything that doesn't serve your highest good. The generational curses that they thought they were strengthening through their assault on you have been broken by the depth of your devotion during the trial. The family patterns that seemed unbreakable have been shattered by the force of your faith under pressure. The bloodline limitations that appeared permanent have been dissolved by the power of your praise in the pit. The ancestral restrictions that felt eternal have been annihilated by the authority you developed in the depths. Hey, this is Mike and Ari, cutting into your regularly scheduled Chosen One programming for just a moment. We are the founders of the Obsidian Inner Order and the Astral Atom Network, and we're done playing nice. We're in a spiritual war. You know it. We know it. And we're out here bleeding for this mission full time. I'm hungry for fourth-dimensional Archon blood, but we need the ammunition. So listen, When you join the inner order, you're not just supporting us, you're getting access to exclusive tools they never wanted you to have. Psychic self-defense training, targeted individual intel, spiritual warfare tactics they scrub from the internet. And every week, we meet in secret, chosen ones, only on Zoom. No filters, no fluff, just real gnosis, real family, real power. It's a 360-degree win. You get what you need. We get to keep fighting. So don't just watch. Drop a like. Share this video to everyone you know. Now, and join the Obsidian Inner Order. Let's finish what we started. Link in the description. Let's freaking go. As this transformation accelerates, remember that your emergence from the pit to the palace isn't just your personal victory. It's a prophetic demonstration for every other chosen one who's currently buried, wondering if God remembers their address. Your resurrection is their hope. Your vindication is their confirmation that no weapon formed against the righteous will prosper. Your palace is proof that every pit has an expiration date. The manual being written about your resurrection will become required reading in heaven's training, minds for angels assigned to similar cases. The testimony being compiled about your transformation will be cited as precedent in spiritual courts where other chosen ones are seeking justice. The documentation being prepared about your vindication will become evidence that God's promises are more reliable than the law of gravity. The seeds they thought they were burying are about to become the forest that changes the landscape of everything they thought they controlled. The voice they tried to silence is about to speak with an authority that nations will recognize. The light they attempted to extinguish is about to shine so brightly that it illuminates the path for multitudes who have been stumbling in darkness. The full circle is now complete. What began as their attempt to bury you alive ends with your resurrection to a life they could never imagine. What started as their celebration of your destruction concludes with their witnessing of your coronation. What commenced as their confidence in your defeat terminates with their acknowledgement of your divine appointment. The pit they dug with such malicious intent has become the foundation for the palace where you'll reign with unlimited authority. The frequency of your transformation is already disrupting the atmospheric pressure around those who orchestrated your downfall. They're experiencing unexplained anxiety, sleepless nights filled with images they can't understand, and a growing sense that something fundamental has shifted in the spiritual realm. Their own weapons are turning against them with such precision that they're beginning to suspect divine intervention, but their pride prevents them from acknowledging what their spirits already know. They picked a fight with heaven itself. The infrastructure of their carefully constructed lies is collapsing under the weight of truth that refuses to stay buried. The network of people they recruited to speak against you is fragmenting as each person begins to receive their own personal visitation from consequences they never saw coming. The foundation of their confidence is cracking as signs and wonders begin manifesting around your name in ways that defy their attempts at rational explanation. Watch as former allies become distant strangers. As speaking, your name begins to carry a weight that makes their tongues heavy and their throats dry. Notice how conversations about you create an awkward silence that fills rooms with tension so thick it becomes difficult to breathe. Observe how their sleep becomes restless and their dreams become populated with visions of judgment that leave them waking in cold sweats, though they'll never admit the source of their disturbance. The children and grandchildren they sought to protect through their attacks against you are about to learn that generational blessings flow toward righteousness, not away from it. The legacy they thought they were preserving by destroying you is about to be transferred to bloodlines that honor divine justice. The inheritance they assumed was secure in their family trees is about to be redistributed according to heavenly mathematics that doesn't recognize earthly claims based on deception and manipulation. Your enemy's family members will begin experiencing breakthroughs in areas where they've been stuck for years. but only after they distance themselves from the toxic influence that connected them to your persecution. Their success will become conditional upon their repentance and their public acknowledgement of the wrong that was done to you. Their prosperity will be directly tied to their willingness to make amends for the damage their loved ones inflicted upon someone heaven calls precious. The businesses they built on foundations of corruption will discover that profit margins begin shrinking as soon as your breakthrough accelerates. The investments they made using resources stolen from your destiny will produce losses that seem inexplicable to their financial advisors. The contracts they signed to secure their future will contain clauses they never noticed that activate only when their victims receive divine vindication. The health issues that begin manifesting in their bodies won't respond to medical treatment because their origin is spiritual, not physical. The relationship problems that start surfacing in their personal lives will resist counseling because their source is unrepented sin, not communication breakdown. The mental confusion that increasingly clouds their decision-making won't improve with therapy because its cause is divine judgment, not psychological imbalance. But while judgment visits their camps, unprecedented favor floods your territory with such abundance that you'll need to expand your capacity to receive it. The blessings being released in your direction are so numerous and so valuable that you'll require a team of specialists just to manage the overflow. The opportunities presenting themselves to you will arrive faster than you can process them, requiring wisdom that surpasses normal human understanding. The palace being prepared for your residence contains rooms designed for functions you haven't even imagined yet. The throne room, where you'll hold court, includes technology that operates on faith frequencies rather than electrical currents. The treasury holds wealth that can't be measured in conventional currency because its value transcends material worth. The library contains books written by angels who recorded every moment of your faithfulness during the darkest seasons of your testing. The garden surrounding your palace grows fruit that heals generational wounds and flowers that release fragrances capable of breaking demonic strongholds. The water features flow with streams that carry prophecies to distant lands, where people you'll never meet will receive breakthrough because of your obedience during your trial. The foundation stones were quarried from the same pit where you learned to breathe underwater and praise in the pressure. The staff assigned to serve in your palace includes angels who specialized in protecting you during your burial season, now being promoted to positions of honor in your royal household. The security detail responsible for your protection has been expanded to include principalities who took personal offense at the attacks against you and volunteered for permanent assignment to your detail. The intelligence network supporting your mission now includes supernatural sources that monitor threats before they form and neutralize opposition before it organizes. The education system being established in your territory will teach principles that transform communities and raise generations who understand their divine identity from birth. The economic policies being implemented in your jurisdiction will demonstrate how kingdom principles create prosperity that doesn't require exploitation or manipulation. The justice system operating under your authority will become a model for how divine law creates peace through righteousness rather than fear through punishment. The influence extending from your palace will reach regions where your name has never been spoken, and languages you've never heard will praise the God who raised you from the pit. The decisions made in your throne room will impact nations whose leaders don't even know they're being influenced by wisdom flowing through spiritual channels they can't perceive. The prayers offered in your prayer tower will shift atmospheric conditions over territories you've never visited and break strongholds that have resisted religious efforts for generations. The artistic expressions flowing from your palace will carry anointing that heals trauma in anyone who encounters them. The music produced under your patronage will contain frequencies that realign human hearts with divine purposes. The literature published through your influence will carry revelation that transforms minds and renews thinking patterns that had been corrupted by generational lies. Your personal transformation serves as